In today's video, we're going to take a look at our August 2023 housing market update for Cedar City, Utah. That means we're going to take a deep dive into our housing conditions and market trends, both nationally as well as here locally, so that you can see how those compare. All right, let's get to it. If this is your first time to this channel, we talk about everything there is to know about living in Cedar City, Utah and the surrounding areas. My name is Elizabeth Prisbrey. I'm with Stratum Real Estate Group. If you are looking to buy, sell, or invest here in Southern Utah, I would love to help you with that. You can find my information up here in the corner or down below in the description. Please don't hesitate to reach out. I promise you I will answer. All right, let's take a look at the August 2023 housing market update. Now, I'm going to be clear, this gives us data up through the end of July, but it is currently August, so this is our August monthly update. I want to look at what has been happening nationally first, because we're all hearing the news and the headlines, and we don't really know how to apply it to our small town of Cedar City. So we're going to take a look at some of those trends, and then we will jump in and show you what has been happening here in Cedar City over the last 5 years and what you can expect to happen now. So the first thing I wanted to show you is what the 48-year average monthly price movement looks like. Basically, what this is showing is what our housing market typically does throughout the year. And this shows from 1973 to 2021. It does not include this year or 2022. We're going to talk about those separately. What this is showing is typically in January, we have a little movement on our pricing, but as we hit those spring months, notice here, March, April, May, it starts to go up. Our housing prices start to go up because that's when buyers typically hit the market and there are more people looking to buy homes. So sellers can come in and get a little bit more for their homes. This has been typical for 48 years. Then we go towards the end of the summer and into the fall, and the home prices aren't appreciating as much. Notice they are all still in the black. They are all still appreciating in price throughout the year. It's just not as high as it would be in the springtime. So if you're a seller, it's a great time to sell in the spring because there are more buyers out looking. However, if you're a buyer, you're probably going to get a little bit better deal if you are not buying in that peak season. I wanted to show you guys this so you can see what a typical year looks like in real estate. Now I want you to take a look at what happened in 2022. Notice that the gray here, that's our 48-year average of what the housing market typically does throughout the year with home prices and with appreciation. Now take a look at what was happening in 2022. Our home prices were appreciating at unprecedented rates. It was out of control. That's when we decided this is getting out of control. It's time to correct this, and we started seeing those interest rates rise considerably. And they were still looking pretty good towards the beginning of the summer, but then we started seeing those headlines come out. People started getting stressed out. Interest rates were climbing. We started hearing news headlines of how everything was crashing. And then look what happened in 2022. We actually had what appears to be depreciation in our housing market, meaning you are losing value in your home through the months of July through December. Now remember, this is national. This is the average for the nation and what we saw happen. But I wanted to give you a clear picture of what happened in 2022. We all saw it. We've been there. It was just a year ago. Now take a look at 2023. We've ended out the year. If we go back here to 2022, we see that December, the housing market was still not moving. Prices appeared to be going down. It looked like, to a lot of people, we were going to have a crash. Well, 2023 hit. We were still in January, lower than usual. People weren't quite confident in that market. Then look what started happening in February. Again, this green one is 2023. This gray one is the national average over that 48 years, what typically happens. February, we were still a little bit lower than the average. March started going up, April started going up. Of course, we're still looking for that most recent data from Case-Shiller, but this is where we were at the end of April. And this is kind of what I saw happening in the Cedar market as well. If you've been watching my weekly market updates, of course, I'm going to give these monthly ones out so that you can really see this. Now, these slides were provided by Keeping Current Matters, which is a great resource, so you can always go on and check theirs out as well. But what we're going to do here is we're going to take this back to the Cedar City market. So right now into 23, Prisbrey, we're looking like we're getting back on track. We're following the average price movement that we've seen over the last 48 years, but we did have a little blip in the market in the fall of 2022 and right there at the beginning of 2023. Now, so that you don't get stressed out and think we're going back to a 2022, I wanted to show this overlaid for you from the beginning of January. Remember, our gray is our national, our yellow is our 2022, our green is our 2023. Our green, even though higher than our gray, our 48-year average, is still a much lower appreciation than our 2022. And honestly, you guys, we don't want 2022. The prices were getting out of control, and that's what was starting to squeeze everyone. We want the housing market to correct. We do. We don't want it to crash, but we want it to correct. Now, I wanted to show you this slide about consumer confidence in home prices. So toward the end of the year, they always check this to see how Americans are feeling about the market and about home prices. You can see what the consumer confidence has been clear back to 2010 on whether consumers believe that home prices are going to be going down. Well, at the end of 2022, consumer confidence that the housing market was going to crash, that prices were going to fall, was pretty high, much higher, double than the highest that we've seen in the last 12, 13 years. If you take that back to what we just looked at and what happened in 2022 to our prices, here's our 2022 price movement back in the fall. That's exactly what happened. Consumers thought prices were going to fall drastically, which took buyers out of the market. So I think it's important to understand what was happening here and the fact that people do get scared by the headlines. What we're really seeing here is that we didn't have a housing market crash, and it appears to already be correcting itself. For example, if we take a look at the percentage of annual home appreciation over the last 42 years, our homes typically appreciate nationally at a 4.92% average. So that black line here is going to be our average. Of course, we've had years higher, we've had years lower. And you can see here in our last few years, that appreciation was incredible. It was off the charts. Something needed to be corrected. So we have been working on correcting it. That's what was happening into end of 2022 and beginning of 2023. We are back down to that average appreciation. Things are still looking good. The only time we have had a significant depreciation is when we had the housing bubble. Back in 2007, 2008, 2009, rounding out 2010, that is when we saw a housing market crash. And that's what people were afraid of. Those were the headlines that people were afraid of that caused consumers to pull back, that caused consumers to believe that housing prices were going to crash. And you're still going to get a lot of people that are going to say housing prices are going to crash. And I can't say what it's going to do everywhere in the nation, but I can show you what's been happening in Cedar City and what we are seeing here. So I wanted to first start with our month supply. This is for Cedar City. You can see clear back to 2018, we had a 4.14 month supply in the month of July. Now, I know I've said this before, but if this is your first time watching my channel, a balanced market is right around 6 months. 5 to 7 months is really pretty balanced, but 6 is what they consider balanced. Anything below 6 months is considered a seller's market. Anything above 6 months is considered a buyer's market. Meaning, if it's a seller's market, sellers have more negotiating power. They can sell their homes for a little bit higher when there's more buyers in the market to come and offer on their home. However, if it's a buyer's market, the market is flooded with homes and the buyers have their pick of the litter, and so they have more negotiating powers. Well, you can see in Cedar City from 2018 to 2023, and I actually went back further than this, 2017, 2016, just because I was curious and I wanted to know. 2016 and 2017 were right around the 5 month supply, still seller's market. However, in the last 5 years, we have been in a seller's market in Cedar City, Utah, meaning our housing market is still really pretty strong here. There's not enough inventory and there's plenty of buyers. With that being said, our market now, as well as in 2022, is very similar to what it was before COVID hit, before we saw people kind of tightening in and not being able to go out and see homes and move and migrate. Obviously, 2021, where we were down to about a 1.5 month supply of housing, that's when everyone started migrating. People started leaving their states and going new places, and there was a short housing supply because we weren't building as much. That's what skyrocketed things. So I kind of want to give you a view of what's been happening over the last few years so that you can see that where we are now in Cedar City is very comparable to where we were back in 2019. As far as month supply, let's take a look at some other stats. Now, median days on market. Remember, median is right in the middle. So you're going to have higher and lower, but it's the best value to show where most things are selling or how long it takes most homes to sell. So currently, month of July, homes, the median days on market that homes are sitting on the market before they are sold or in contract is 58 days. That is lower than all of the other days with the exception of 2021 when things were going crazy. And that 47 really feels kind of high for 2021 because we were seeing homes fly off the market really pretty fast. So that could kind of show you as well what's happening here in Cedar City. Our homes are still on the market for a lower time period than they have been in the past. Now, this is what everybody really wants to know is what are our median sales price? Where were they? Where are they now? How have they changed? On the right side here where it says yearly sell percentage change, this is going to be from one year to the next. So if this row is 2018, our median home sale price was $229,000. This 13.79% shows how much that went up from 2017. So from 2017 to 2018, we had almost a 14% appreciation rate. From 2018 to 2019, we didn't even have a whole percent appreciation. Okay, keep that in mind as we take a look at where we're at with 2023. Now, in 2020, we're down to just under 12%, pretty comparable to 2018. Not really sure why there wasn't much of an increase here in 2019, but still kind of within that range of what typically happens in Cedar City. I've gone back through other months, and that seems pretty normal for Cedar City. 10% appreciation was really pretty conservative for what Cedar City typically does. Now, 2021, we see almost a 26% increase in the month of July on home prices. And then 2022, we still see a 20% increase in appreciation. Now look at 2023, where everybody says things are crashing, they're not appreciating, the housing market is dying. I know I'm being dramatic here, but look, we are still appreciating. Now, it might be decelerating, meaning we're not appreciating at the same rate that we were or that we typically do, but that is different from depreciation. Depreciation means they are losing value. Right now, they're not losing value. This is from July 2022 to July 2023. You can see there's a small increase here or a small appreciation in our median home sales price. That means it is just appreciating at a much slower rate than we have been used to. So our market here is still sitting pretty strong as we're looking for housing prices to correct, as interest rates are still quite high. Now, what I want to show you is how much homes have appreciated in the last 3 years nationally. And this is just a quick chart. Some of our major cities, I think the highest one here is going to be Tampa, Florida. Since March of 2020, they have gone up 63.8%. Their homes have appreciated that much. The lowest one here looks to be Minneapolis at 29.5%. Nationally, homes appreciated 41.8% over the last 3 years. So if we take a look at that compared to Cedar City from July 2020 to July 2023 had an appreciation rate of 52.36%. That means that if you've owned your home for more than 3 years, and most people buy a home and live in it for at least 5 to 7 years. So if you bought your home before 2020, you're sitting on a good amount of appreciation. But even if you bought your home in July over the last few years after 2020, your home has still appreciated. If we were to just take the national average of what homes typically appreciate for, that 4.9% over that 42 years, and we were just to calculate that appreciation from 2020 to 2023, this 52.36% is 37.6 higher than the average appreciation we would expect in a typical healthy market. With no unicorn years where the housing market went crazy and everyone bought it up, we are sitting 37.6% higher. So even if we have depreciation, we are still looking really good and we are not in a full out crash. I just wanted to point that out because sometimes people think if it's not appreciating by 26% every year, I'm losing value. No, these are unprecedented years, 2021 and 2022. That's not normal. So I know that's a lot to take in, but I wanted to give you a breakdown of what's happening here in Cedar City. Now, as far as projections and what we expect to happen by the end of the year and over the next 12-month forecast, there are some larger companies here that have forecasted what they expect home prices to do over the next 12 months. You can see CoreLogic, which is a great one, expects home prices nationally to appreciate 4.5%. Zillow got a little bit more aggressive and said 6.5%. Of course, it's based on where people live, but as you can see from our Cedar City market, we have typically been above the national average when it comes to appreciation. So that's just something that I wanted to point out there. Now, these different companies here, MBA, Fannie Mae, Morgan Stanley, AEI Housing Center, their original forecast for the end of the year, it was a negative. It was actually a depreciation. So that's what they projected. But they have adjusted their current forecast because we are seeing adjustments in the market. And all of these forecasts are delayed from the actual data that we have. So they are forecasting appreciation as well. Something to note there. All right, I know that was a lot of information, but I wanted you to see what I'm seeing. People only look at the headlines that say, oh, housing is falling and prices are falling. But as you see, the housing market typically goes up in the spring. We see it start to slow down towards the end of the summer and into fall. It doesn't mean those home values are depreciating. They're just decelerating, meaning they are not appreciating as fast because there aren't as many buyers in the market at that point. Still buyers, just not as many. So here's the takeaway. No matter what's happening in the market, you need to do what's right for you and your family. But you need to make sure that you base that decision on actual data, on actual facts, not out of fear, not on what the headlines are saying. So if your family needs to make a move or wants to make a move or has been considering making a move, whether buying or selling, or maybe you're looking to invest, contact me. Make sure you have the actual data and facts for your specific situation. Stay away from the headlines and let's figure out what works best for you. If you need more personal information, please reach out to me. You can leave a comment, you can email me, text me, call me. I'm going to respond, so please don't hesitate to reach out. My name is Elizabeth Prisbrey. I'm with Stratum Real Estate Group. I help people buy and sell in Cedar City, Utah and the surrounding areas, really all of southern Utah every single day. So don't hesitate to reach out. Make sure you're working with somebody in the local market that knows this market, because remember, it can vary throughout the nation drastically, and you want to make sure that you are paying attention to the Cedar City headlines, not the national headlines. All right, until next time, have a wonderful day.